Hello, we're following breaking news as we go on the air at noon. Firefighters are on the scene of a house explosion near Florissant. Multiple homes are damaged in the area and people have been injured. Right now, it's still unclear how many or how severe those injuries are. Thanks for joining us. I'm Paul Cook.
And I'm Michelle Lee. Of course, we've been following this story since it all began around 9:15 this morning when reports of a blast started coming into our newsroom. So we know that that blast happened on Candlewick Club Drive. This is off North Highway 67. This is technically in unincorporated North St. Louis County. Now, we've heard from people from as far away as Edwardsville and Caseyville who say that they felt the blast.
Yeah, people felt it for a long ways away, and Mercedes McKay is the closest to that scene right now. Mercedes, what are you seeing out there?
Michelle and Paul, this is as close as we've been able to get, and the destruction here is just insane. So right behind me here is Candlewick Club Drive, which is where that home exploded. You can see the water still on it, so still a very active scene. And we're on Belcroft Drive and Candlewick Club Drive right now. And down the road to my right, so to the right of your screen, is Old Hallsbury Road, which we know is shut down. You can't get in or out of this subdivision, but just take a look at the sheer volume of emergency crews here, you guys. I can't even count the amount of fire trucks that have been here. We know that Blackjack Fire Department is leading this investigation. Spire crews out here as well. We've even seen an ATF official as well out here, and they've been out here working this scene. We got here probably around 11 o'clock this morning, and what's usually a 30-minute drive for us actually ended up being close to 50 minutes because actually down Lindbergh Boulevard, right around the Walmart is where it is shut down. And right now we have our 5-lens drone up, and you can just see that destruction. That home is completely ruined, and then the impacted homes to the side of it. And I actually was able to speak with the sister of one of the residents who was in one of those impacted homes. She said her sister called her and her roof was caving in. Let's take a listen to what Ashley Roberts had to say.
I got a call from my sister. She was screaming in the phone, like, help, help, like my house, it's, I think she said something about a fire, and it just really, I was all shook up. I'm like, oh my God. She's like, come now, come now. So I immediately rushed over. I had to park my car on Lindbergh, and then I just walked back here with her, and I'm just so grateful that she and my niece and nephew, they were all fine. So that's what matters most. Everyone is safe.
Yeah, Ashley kept saying that to me repeatedly, Paul and Michelle, how, things can be replaced, but her sister and her niece are what we're zoomed in on right now. You can see some of this home actually still smoldering. When we talk about the debris, there's debris all across this road here. When we were actually walking into this part of the neighborhood, a Spire official actually told me and our 5 on Your Side photographer to watch out for nails. We're walking in a lot of as well debris. We're walking in nails. The mud and the grass is actually squishy. So just showing the sheer volume of the response from this. I was also able to speak to a couple people as we were walking in here that live about a couple miles down the road, and she told me she was working and then she felt like a car ran into her own home when this explosion happened. I know that's the same thing that Justina and Megan have been hearing as well, just the sheer volume of this home explosion, but want to reiterate just the response from these emergency officials. It has been remarkable, so I want to thank them for what they're doing. Even though this scene looks really hectic, they've handled this in such a calm manner. But again, right behind me here, this is going to be a long road to recovery. I know we'll hear from the Blackjack Fire Chief in about an hour ago for a press conference where we'll be able to really figure out what led to this home explosion. Michelle and Paul.
All right, thank you very much, Mercedes. Yeah, we thank them for their poise. It looks like things just almost reduced to rubble, very small particles, and emergency crews on the scene, investigators as well. Do you know the investigators that are there, where they're from, and what they're seeing?
Yeah, so Paul, we know that Blackjack is here as well. I can see Berkeley behind me. I also know from one of my sources that Ferguson Florissant was helping out with the response. We've also seen St. Louis County Police Department as well. Obviously, they are here. So I'm thinking most of North County emergency crews are here. When we were actually even driving in from this station, we probably saw 5 or 6 emergency crews pass us. That's between fire departments and police departments. So the sheer volume of response, even now, up until then. And I just actually want to thank the people behind me in these orange vests. They've been handing us water, so it's definitely a community effort out here. As you know, we comfort these people that were impacted as this, and this whole community just tries to figure out what went wrong here.
All right, thanks so much, Mercedes. We were able to also see ATF from that vantage point and bomb and arson units as well, part of the standard investigation. Let's get on over to Megan Kernan, who's on the other side of the neighborhood, was one of the first on the scene. Megan, what have you learned? Are you getting an update from St. Louis County officials?
Yeah, Michelle, well, we have been on the scene for hours. We just were moved out of the neighborhood, but behind me, we're at the corner of Corden and Davie, and this house behind me where the explosion happened is just a street behind us, to kind of give you some context. So about, I want to say an hour ago or less than an hour ago, we did hear from the Black Jack fire chief, who told us that there were 5 total homes that were on fire. So besides the one home that exploded, there was 4 others around the house that caught on fire. I mean, the damage throughout the neighborhood just extensive. There's windows blown out. There's doors that are blown out. We know that there was at least 3 people taken to the hospital. The Blackjack fire chief told us. We don't know the extent of their injuries. We don't know the ages of the people that were hurt. But whenever we were live a little bit ago, we were talking to this one man who told us that he actually knew somebody that was injured and suffered some severe burns. So I want to toss to him real quick and hear what he heard whenever he heard the explosion.
I felt it. I heard it and I felt it. But yeah, I was just laying down in my bed, and as soon as I heard it or felt it, I got up and ran over there, and I seen one house that was already crumbled, and then the next 2 that was next to it, they both caught on fire.
So again, just to wrap that up, after he ran over to the street, the street where the home exploded and the other houses caught on fire, he saw at least one person who was hurt. He knew that person. He said that man was in one of the houses. It's not clear if he was in the house that exploded or if he was in the house that, caught on fire because of this house explosion. He did say that he was talking to him. He was in the hospital. He said that he's going to be okay, but he is pretty severely burned. As I said, there are several homes, many homes in this neighborhood that have suffered damage because of the explosion. There's windows blown out, doors blown out. I was talking to one woman that was laying in her bed this morning, and all of a sudden, she hears this loud boom, and all of her windows exploded, or all of her windows shattered, and her pictures just started falling from the walls. And we do know that this fire went to a 3-alarm fire. We have seen Ferguson, Florissant, Blackjack, and St. Louis County Police, all of those crews out here. We've seen tons of Spire crews, as you can see right out here. They have not confirmed what caused this. They have not confirmed if it was a gas leak. We did see, kind of some flooding in the street. We asked if it was a water main break. We asked the extent of the injuries, but we don't have any of that information confirmed. As, of course, we're going to keep you updated as soon as we learn more.
All right, thank you so much, Megan. I know you've been there for hours, and I can imagine the shock when this went off. Have you seen families looking for each other, wandering around, and do you know anything more about injuries?
Yeah, I mean, just from talking, whenever we got here, we were probably 3 blocks away from the street that happened, and that was as close as that we could get whenever we first got here, and just people just so worried for their neighbors. I haven't heard of anybody looking for their family members. Police and fire did say that everybody has been accounted for, so I just want to make that very clear. It doesn't seem like anybody else is looking for their family members right now, but really right now, just people in the neighborhood, the neighbors are wondering, who was this? Was this my neighbor, that was injured in this fire, in this explosion? So really just that worry from these neighbors is what we're feeling right now.
All right, absolutely devastating. Thank you so much. We will definitely check back in, Megan. All right, the Walmart store, that superstore, North Highway 67, was also evacuated shortly after the explosion.
And our Justina Cornell was there earlier. She was talking to people. Justina, where are you now, and what did you learn from folks?
I'm right by the scene where the explosion happened. We expected a news conference to happen at 12, but that has been pushed to 1 or 1:30. But we're just 3 minutes away from the Walmart. I'm going to give you a bit of a timeline. So when we got there around 10:30, I saw a ton of employees outside with their blue vests waiting outside to see kind of what was going on, to see when they can go back in. We're told they evacuated around 9:15, and that was after they heard an explosion. Now at 11, employees were allowed to go back inside, and I tried to walk up to get a little bit more information, but a police officer stopped me and he said they wouldn't be opening until 12 or 12:30. That is because the explosion, when it hit or when it happened, it was such a shake to the business at Walmart that items fell and employees had to pick that up. And so right now there's no structural damage, but again, I spoke to one worker who told me she heard and felt the explosion around 9. That's when they were told to evacuate. And when she went outside, she saw a dark plume of smoke by the trees. The Florissant PD says the store was evacuated for a full structural inspection. I spoke to one man who rushed over there to check on his niece, who works there as a cash register. Now he was brushing his teeth when he heard a loud boom and he thought something crashed into his home. He felt the house shake, and then he got a text from his niece that the Walmart was evacuating.
When I heard the explosion, I came outside and my friend, I seen a cloud of smoke just coming from everywhere. And then I got a text from her. You know, she said that they was making them evacuate because they heard an explosion in the building. So it was my concern to check on her safety, make sure everything, you know, she was okay and everything. And so that's why I'm here.
Now, right before this live shot, I actually spoke to a Walmart spokesperson who says that they evacuated everyone out of precaution. No structural damage again. Everyone is okay, but they did it to make sure that everyone was okay and just make sure to be safe as this is all unraveling and happening right now. I'll send it back to you in studio.
All right, thank you. I'm glad you got that perspective. I mean, so many businesses in the area. So we've been talking about the neighborhood, but also the businesses and probably the confusion there. Great job. Thank you, Justina. Okay, so what do we know right now?
We're learning so much. And we know that scene is still fluid. The investigation is still very active. Firefighters from the Florissant Valley Fire Protection District and the Blackjack Fire Protection District are both on the scene of that home explosion on Candlewood Club Drive near Florissant.
Yeah, we know at least one person is severely injured and 3 others have minor injuries, but there could be additional injuries as well that authorities don't really know about yet.
That's right. And Blackjack firefighters say at least 5 homes are damaged, but they are still assessing damage across the neighborhood, so that number could grow. And by the looks of our reporters, it looks like that number will continue to grow. Residents are being asked to stay away from that scene as well.
Avoid if you can that area. It's near Coldwater Creek, Lindbergh, Old Halls Ferry. Take the back routes if you need to get in and you need to work, or hopefully you don't need to move at all. Howder Shell, Shackelford, they would be options for you if you were going to be cruising around there. And I know we've got a lot more coming up, so stay right here.